Mic check, mic check. What's that? Okay. What is going on? I don't know. Let me know. Put a 1 up if you can hear me. There was no sound earlier because I didn't have the sound on. And now I do. And I wasn't talking earlier. So, again, let me know if y'all can hear me. Get this started soon. Long time no see. Full disclaimer here, guys. There's this stupid intercom that comes on in this damn building. If it comes on, I will mute it. Hopefully it doesn't involve anything to do with me. If so, we'll have to cut the stream short. But as of right now, we good. Hear intercom, ignore it. The thing's loud as hell, scares me every time it comes on. So, all good here. Again, we're going to wait a little bit. We got a little bit to talk about, man. We got a little bit to talk about since the last time I talked to you guys. Since the last time I've talked, man, we've hired 2 new coaches to the staff. I think that a lot of people are excited about. Since the last time I've talked, what else has happened since the last time I've talked? I don't take notes for these videos. I just come on here and spitball it. Hold on a second. What else happened? Obviously, National Signing Day happened since the last time we talked. Yeah, let's go here. What else has happened, guys? Y'all help me out. What else has happened since the last time we talked? National Signing Day came and went. We hired a couple coaches. Oh yeah, a couple coaches got some extensions. Schedule has been released since the last time we talked. So there's been a little bit of stuff that's happened, man, since the last time we've kicked it. So we're gonna do all of that today. I'm trying to see if more people pop up in here. 20 people in here so far. Hit the like button as always. Share the video. Let's get this stuff out. And we'll wait a little bit, and then we'll get smoking, and we'll do the roll call like we always do. Oh yeah, some pictures of the new locker rooms came out too. So we got a lot to talk about here today. Don't know how long we'll be on, but we got a lot to discuss. So we'll give it. Let's see, we're at 6 minutes going on 7. We'll give it to 8 minutes. Then we'll do our typical introduction and get this thing started. So we'll give it a little bit more time for some more people to show up. Again, man, put the links out there. Share the video. Let people know we are live. I know I don't do as much as I used to, obviously, because of the schedule. There we go. But I try to get on here when I have a chance. Definitely got to get on here when it's time to talk and some stuff's going on. So we're gonna do that. 30 seconds, and then we're gonna do what we do. I should have shared the link to the video my damn self. But let's see if I can. Hold on. Let me share this video and then post this video up on my Twitter. And then we'll get started. Here we go. There I am. Look at that. Found myself. And of course, hit that like button. Okay, my bad, guys. I think I disappeared there for a second. I think I'm back now. I think I'm back. All right, let's do it. Oh no, did everybody leave? Okay, no, I'm back. Man, not being in my typical setting is not the business when you're trying to do these live streams. But what is going on, everybody? It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the Damn Truth. And you're on 863 Seminole TV. And we about to go over, when was the last time I went live? Was it a week or two ago? But anyway, we about to go over everything that's happened since then. We're going to try to cover as much as we can today. We got to hit this roll call real quick. We got 40 people in the building just about, and let's not waste y'all's time, and let's not waste any more time, right? Till Dog in the building, Island Boy, Peter Shields, member of the 863 Tribe, Montre, Jalen, DF, member of the 863 Tribe, Panama Jack, Ray Fitty, Jamal M, John White, Todd Pope, Kusami Hayes. I think I said Ray already, but Ray Fitty. Nick in the building, Northville, Central, Todd, Anthony, Dan Squatch, Noel Squad, Hurricane Kilo, Gator, Hater, and Seminole Fire Water. What is going on? I think I hit just about everybody. If I missed you, come back in with a comment. All right, let's get it cracking. I don't really know where to start, so I'm gonna try to we'll go in chronological order. This is all off the top of the dome ski, but I believe Corey Fuller and who's the other dude we got, man? I forgot that quick. Just that quick. Anyways, Corey Fuller and damn, I'm really drawing a blank. The old Gator player. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Anyway, not Kendall Fuller. I don't know why I was about to say Kendall. Corey Fuller and Keywan Ratliff. There you go. Corey Fuller and Keywan Ratliff. I believe they're the first thing on the list. They are members of the staff of Director of Player Personnel, I believe is Fuller's title. Ratliff, I'm not 100% sure what his status is. I know some of y'all probably know off the top of y'all's head. I do not. I did a little polls, and majority of people tend to believe that those were good moves. And I can't disagree with either move. I think another move that happened is a GM hire, but don't know much about that guy to really talk about it. I don't even know what the hell a GM does in college football. I would love for some of y'all to tell me what a GM does in college football. But yeah, man, we hired two guys that are entrenched in the state. I like both hires. I think they're going to help with the relationships with the kids, but I don't know. I mean, I think both guys may be what a word I'm looking here, like temporary. Like, I don't know. I know we just extended, and we're going to talk about these extensions. We're going to go more in detail about these extensions and what people think, and but maybe they're like a Charles Woodson or Coach Woodson, whatever. He was rumored to be getting some buzz of a job earlier. I don't obviously at this point he's not going anywhere. I think getting a guy like Keywan Ratliff is a way that if Woodson was to take another job somewhere, you have an easy transition. Very similar to what they did with Randy Shannon and Coach Marv. I think that is sort of the play here. Obviously, he's a guy who I think most Gator fans liked. They still wish they had him. And I think that talking about Ratliff, and I think that he's a very solid hire. I probably can't say too much, right? I don't know much about him. As far as Corey Fuller goes, I know he was a former high school head coach at Gadsden, and I'm excited to have him back. I really am. I know Dion kind of wanted him on the staff there, so not gonna waste too much time on those two coaches. But I do like the pickups. I do like the fact that we're getting more Florida guys. We're getting more guys. I like the fact that we're getting just more guys, especially when you talk about Fuller, right? We're getting more guys that are that want to see FSU do good. Not saying that the current staff doesn't want to see Florida State good, but you got to get, I'm not too big on hiring a bunch of former Seminoles, but I do think you need guys in there that know what it means to be a Seminole. And I think you got definitely one in Corey Fuller. And Ratliff knows the recruiting game, and I think he's going to help in that DB room. If Woodson's the master recruiter we believe he is, maybe Kewan Ratliff is the coach. Maybe that Woodson, maybe he has the fundamentals in coaching that I think Woodson may lack. When you start talking about coaching. So there's that. GF says the Ruiz family was going to give the bag to regardless of 4th and 14. Humiliated, you delusional program. Stop with the silver line comments. Hate to say it, but Mario is doing really good. That seems to be the talk. You guys want to talk about Florida State and Miami. You want me to talk about that? I find it funny. And, no squad. He's entitled to his opinion and everybody else. But I find it funny that we're sitting here talking about Mario doing. Do y'all remember this coach? I'm not going to name this coach. We're going to play a game of name this coach. It's so eerily similar to Mario Cristobal. Like everything that's happened so far, so eerily similar to Mario. We're going to say name this coach. This coach took over a program that was ranked in the 60s. And finished number 14 in the nation in his transition class. And everybody said, oh my God, this guy can recruit. This guy's finna come in here and he's finna dominate. He's finna do everything that they're saying that boy Cuban Jesus is gonna do. Isn't that eerie similar to a coach? I'll let y'all name that coach. That same coach also seemed that he had a problem hiring his staff. Every time, every guy he wanted, he couldn't get. Remember that guy? He wanted Mike Locksley to be an OC. He couldn't get him. He initially wanted Ron Dugans to be his wide receiver coach, but he couldn't get him. He wanted that Wisconsin defensive coordinator, and he couldn't get him. So he went and got a bunch of second and third options to fill out that staff. I'm not going to name the coach. And I really don't even want to talk about this crap with Mario so far, because my opinion on Mario stands. But I said this when they hired him. I said there will definitely be a honeymoon phase for Miami. Definitely be a honeymoon phase. We've seen this play out before. But again, I ain't going to name the coach. I'll let y'all name that coach in the comment section. But we've seen this story play out before. Oh, and that other coach, he also came from Oregon. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's continue. With what I was about to say. See, that foolishness just made me lose. That foolishness has made me lose track of my thought process. Where are we at? We talked about the two coaches. Okay, let's talk about, because I know when this happened, everybody got kind of up in arms about it, and I've given Miami fans about as much attention as I'm going to give them at this point. So that's all I got to say to y'all. Ron Dugans, Odell Higgins both got contract extensions. I never thought Odell was going anywhere, by the way. My own personal opinion. I never thought Mario. Ain't got time for Cuban Jesus. I never thought Odell was going anywhere, regardless of if I want Odell to go anywhere or not. It was irrelevant. I didn't think he was going anywhere. And for that matter, the whole big discussion is on Dugans. Y'all know my feelings on Dugans as well. And I didn't want Dugans to be retained, but we did. And I'm not going to come in here and go on a rant about it either, because I feel like, they're keeping their cohesion. I was listening to somebody, man, and I promise I forget, because obviously this stuff happens, and this stuff has been happened, right? And I'm talking about it late. Everybody's already given their input in Twitter Spaces and on their own stuff. So I'm coming in here late and just giving my thoughts. But I was listening to somebody, and they were talking about, I think I was listening to James Coleman, actually, Big Game James. I think he said something about he had a talk with Dugans, and basically, after hearing what he said, I kind of agreed with what was said, in the sense of Dugans is not really had. Now, first year he took over, Taggart gets fired. I can't even remember what receiver. I think that was the Brian Robinson, when he signed Brian Robinson. So he hasn't really had a bunch of receivers he's been able to recruit. Last year, he did recruit Joshua Burrell, Malik McLean, and that who will not be named until I see him on campus. I will not say his name. I promise you that. But he did recruit those three receivers. And then this year, of course, was the dumpster fire of wide receiver recruiting that we've seen. So, I'm not gonna cry about it. Do I think we should have upped, or do I think we should have tried to upgrade the position? Yep, absolutely think we should have upgraded the position. With that said, it is what it is. I can see it doesn't even matter, right? We'll just continue the conversation elsewhere. But as everybody knows, Odell's coming back. I'm not going to go too deep in Odell either. I've done entire videos on Odell, and everything I said on Odell stands to this day. It is what it is. The facts are the facts. Robert Cooper is the last legitimate Blue Star defensive tackle we signed. Since then, you look at Odell's recruiting. Don't blame the school. Don't blame that the team hasn't been good, because the team ain't been good, and Atkins has no problems. The team hasn't been good, and Woodson has no problems. The team hasn't been good, and other people have been able to recruit. So as far as I'm concerned, Odell gets no pass. Again, he hasn't signed a legit. When I say legit, I mean blue chip. He signed a couple 3 stars. But you ain't got to listen to me, man. Like I said, I've gone too far on that. I'm not even going to regurgitate all that Odell slander. Y'all can go check that out for yourself. Y'all can go check that out for you. What are y'all talking about in the comments? I see the comments moving. Y'all got a lot to say today. Did y'all miss me? Y'all might have missed me. Let's go up. Catch up on some of these comments. Here, I'll start with this one. Even though I said I wasn't going to give Miami fans any more attention. Except Mario had a better record at Oregon, is a proven elite recruiter. So is Taggart. And Kevin Steele is a better than anyone really. I love, what's so funny? I love the fact that Miami thinks. Kevin Steele, okay. If I was grading him on a scale from 1 to 10 as far as the defensive coordinator go, I'll give you a 5 or a 6. He's a decent hire. He's a solid hire. Anytime a coach, and ask yourself this question, Miami fans, why has this man been let go from he's coached at like 5 or 6 schools, but that's neither here nor there. He doesn't. Kevin Steele, you think he's the greatest? I want you to go check his resume and you tell me how great. But I know you guys know the name, so we're going to talk about a Kevin Steele as if he's, I don't know, the next coming of Kirby Smart or something. Hell, he's not even Will Muschamp level, but neither here nor there. Congratulations on Kevin Steele. Seminole T2Y in the building. So I saw that from a lot of I think so. Sam McCall lost his star. So Sam McCall lost his star earlier in the year, then got his 5th star back, and I believe in the final rankings lost his 5th star again. Atavius Woody went down to a 3-star. Don't know how that. I don't know how you downgrade players after this. When the season finished, meaning the last snap they took playing football, they were 4 and 5 stars, and then 2 months later, they're not playing football, and you downgrade them. I don't know how that happened. I don't know who. I usually am pretty big on 247 composite rankings, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on there. Let me catch up in the comments. Miami fans, y'all are hilarious. I love seeing y'all like this though, because y'all it just reminds me of what we were in 2016, 2017, excuse me. What I'm watching Miami fans go through right now is exactly what we did in 2017. It's funny. It is absolutely hilarious. But congratulations, man. Congratulations. He's done everywhere. Don't tell him nothing, DF. Don't tell him nothing. Everybody knows that, Nick. Everybody knows. The dude's been everywhere. There's a reason. There's a reason Kevin Steele was available. Like, oh my God. It's all biased with the 247 rankings, and they're my favorite site. But if Sam McCall and Armello were committed to UGA, Bama, and they'd be 5 stars without a doubt. The last rankings 247 puts out are always height based. Whoever has the top class will have the players moved up. Whoever has negative momentum, not landing all their targets, gets to commit. Makes sense, y'all. Man makes sense. Kevin Steele has been fired. Everybody's been in DC. You don't have to tell me, John. We know. Again, we know. Let them boys be happy, because when the games start getting played, I don't know what they're going to be happy about. I'm 40 years old, and I've been hearing Miami fans say the same thing every year since I was sophomore in college. Anyway, okay, let's just get to what guess everybody really cares about. And what everybody, I saw that too, BB. They dropped Kamari from a 5-star. It doesn't make sense. Tell me why Kamari Wilson got dropped from a 5-star. Obviously, and we hate the Gators, but the truth is the truth. The man finished the season as a 5-star only to go into the offseason, and then no games are being played, and now all of a sudden he's a 4-star. Why? Because he didn't pick Georgia, he picked Florida. It's kind of in a lot of ways it's a joke. In a lot of ways it's a joke. And the crazy thing about it is they don't even count Dante Anderson as a part of our class because he walked on. FSU would be higher up in the recruiting rankings if they counted Dante Anderson in our recruiting. But, it is what it is. I'm gonna touch on that. No, I haven't hit the schedule yet. We're gonna touch on the schedule. I'm about to get on this National Signing Day and how people are feeling. I know how I feel, but I want to touch on that, and then we'll talk about the schedule and what to expect and all that stuff. Quality over quantity. Remember me saying that? I also remember you saying Kamari Wilson was a silent commit. Marvin Jones Jr. was a silent commit. I remember you saying Julian Armello was on his way to Miami. I remember you saying Shamar Stewart was all but in the book. T2Y, you say a lot of things, my buddy. You say a lot of things. Someone said probably because of the All-American games. But Sam McCall was injured during his All-American game. It's not like he put in a bad performance. He couldn't compete. That mean he should drop to a 4-star because he couldn't compete? If that's the case, if you didn't watch Kevin Coleman in the All-Star game, he was locked up. Kevin Coleman should have been put down to a 3-star the way he played in his All-Star game. And I usually fool with 247, but I don't know. I feel like something was off this year with 247. Something was off. We're gonna talk about Woody because I'm still a little bit confused on Tavius Woody's situation. I think Norvell Central might still be in here. He might know some stuff if he wants to talk about or put something in the comment section. But if I'm not mistaken, Mike Norvell didn't tweet out on Tavius Woody's signing. I know he committed and did his old ceremony. But usually he gets a commit. I don't know if Woody's gonna be a walk on. They still haven't specified whether he's even gonna qualify. So Woody's a weird one, but I am glad that he's stuck. And if we can get him on campus and he actually can qualify, I mean, are we still gonna question? I don't think anybody's questioning him. But for those who may, I mean, is Coach Atkins not the best damn recruit? You want to talk about recruiters? That guy might be the best recruiter in the state of Florida. Alex Atkins. Seriously. Woody's grades by May we find out. Yeah, that's what I think. I know it's still a grade thing with him, so I don't know. Dude, man, there's no such thing as a 5-star kicker. I don't want to hear that. I hear Woody signed a blank piece of paper at the ceremony, and they're still trying to. That's what I think too. That's what I think too. I don't think he's officially signed with Florida State. I think they're going to try to work all summer to get his grades up. Basically, we never see. I agree. I don't. I don't think we ever see Woody. I don't think we ever see Woody. If we can, he's a great addition, though. He's a great addition. Probably your future center. You know me. I even think that he can play defensive tackle. Um, but Atkins seems to be obviously reeling him in there. So, but yeah, if we can get him on campus, then that's a great one. Somebody says he signed his letter of intent, but can you confirm that? Because I haven't seen anywhere that that's been confirmed that he signed his letter of intent. Okay, there it is. Norvell Central said Norvell did retweet his signing, but he did not officially sign. He says it doesn't matter too much. His academics need to be in order. So pretty much what everybody's saying. He's not officially signed. So there's a good chance that we don't see him. Maybe he sits out a year. You know, Travis J had that issue. I think DeBoer Tate had the same issue where they didn't qualify. They did sign, didn't qualify, stuck around the year, played, basically got in a red shirt. Maybe Woody goes through the same thing. Could be possible. Anderson is still a walk-on, unless something's changed since. I'm pretty positive Dante Anderson has not been given a scholarship. I know he initially was a walk-on. Okay, let's talk about National Signing Day because I think um, for me, I don't think National Signing Day was a big deal because I think if you are a Florida State fan and you follow the team, then you know or you knew that by early signing day, we were all but done with recruiting. Like we knew if you were a Florida State fan, like a legit Florida State fan, and you're not just a troll or you're not just one of those Florida State fans that just want to cry and complain just to cry and complain, right? And you want to have a legit conversation or you know what I mean? Then you knew the plan all along We were loading up on early signing day and then attacking the portal the second part of the recruiting cycle. Like, you knew that. I talked about that a million times on this channel. We all talked about that stuff. We all talked about that stuff. And then here comes National Signing Day. And of course, Florida State isn't in the running because they weren't in the running for anybody, because they weren't recruiting anybody in the actual official National Signing Day. And now everybody's here crying, bitching, complaining, and moaning about what? We knew what the plan of this. Now, you can, if you want to argue to me and say that it was a wrong decision or it's bad strategy to not continue to recruit through to the official signing day, we can have that discussion, and I'm pretty sure you can make some legit points on that. I won't necessarily disagree, but everybody knew the plan going into this thing, or I feel like everybody should have known the plan. If you listen to my channel, you should have known the plan. We all knew early signing day was our National Signing Day. We knew that. We knew about half of this class was going to, if not more so, was going to early enroll. That's what's happened. We knew that second part, we were going to really focus on the portal, and that's what's happened. Yet here we are, and I'm listening to the Twitter spaces and all, and we're crying about because we didn't sign anybody on National Signing Day. We weren't in the running for anybody. Or maybe, am I off by saying that? Should I have higher expectations? Again, for me, it's okay. For me, my thing, like, for me, honestly, if you want to argue with me that was a bad strategy to do that, again, I'm not going to dismiss that argument. I don't agree with it. I actually like the way they kind of approached it. They knew their limitations in recruiting, or they knew what they were trying to accomplish in recruiting. Could they have wasted a bunch of time and resources trying to recruit a Shamar Stewart or, one of them big time guys? They could have, but if they knew they were just going to waste their time doing it, why do it? Instead, you use those same time and resources to recruit Jarrett Verse, to recruit Micah Pittman, to recruit Justin Wright and Johnny Wilson. Like, you know what I mean? So me personally, I like the strategy. It shows that they're self-aware and they're aware of what their maybe limitations are and are not. But at the same time, I can hear an argument of, well, I would have liked them to have some guys on the back burner that they could have kept warm and da. I'm okay with that. But I feel like we're kind of overreacting here on National Signing Day. When we all kind of knew the strategy that FSU was rocking with from the jump. So, I mean, I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on that. But that's just my take on it. I feel like we just made a bunch of noise for no reason. But as a fan base, we tend to do that. So I understand it at this point. Zoe says so many of our portal guys have 2 or more years, and that's a great thing. I hear a lot of people say they hate the portal. I love the portal because it gives people different opportunities. I do think there should be some restrictions to the portal, but I actually like the portal and the new way it's handled. I do think they should add some more restrictions, though. I don't like this being able to transfer a year in and year out. I think that's kind of cheap, but for the most part, I like the portal. I like the fact that they went into the portal with a vision. They didn't just go out and say, we're just going to sign guys. No, we understand our early signing period is this, right? We're going to sign this amount of kids in the early period. We're not really targeting anybody outside of that scope. But when we hit the portal, we're not just going to sign guys. Now, we'll take a Caden Lyles, for example, because he's going to be an instant impact. But for the most part, we're going to get guys with 2 or more years who are, Jarrett Verse, man, let's be honest. Jarrett Verse is essentially a freshman. Like, Jarrett Verse is essentially a freshman. He has 3 years of eligibility. Jarrett Verse is essentially a high school player. I think Johnny Wilson, like, you're getting guys, man, that are redshirt freshmen and sophomores who aren't just one and done guys. I don't think you can really knock that. DS says the only reason UM is talking about recruiting ranks is because FSU's class was downgraded, not because Cuban Jesus did well. He lost to primetime Jimbo. Of course, Preaching to the choir, bro. The only head coaches that scare me are the ones that make the playoff and win titles. Mario Cristobal is like all these other average overpaid coaches that haven't done that. I would rather sign a freshman portal guy than a high school project. It's because Miami and UF finished higher than us. That's why people are upset. Speak that worried about external factors. I love the coaching staff, and I think they're an organized group of individuals. I believe that the staff will stray away from getting high amount of transfers. I expect around 4 or 5 next cycle. Well, to your point, Norville Central, I think that's the natural evolution of it. You can't continue to go if year in and year out, you're in the portal for 10, 12 guys, that means you are really sucking at high school recruiting. So eventually, yes, you have to be signing more high school kids than you're signing portal guys. And then what you want to use the portal for is to fill those spots that maybe you're not quite there yet. They kind of use the portal if you want to have a criticism, that's the word I was looking for, of the way they use the portal. I mean, they literally used the portal this year to fill out an entire position group. And that's a good, but that's also a bad thing. That shows complete ineptitude on recruiting wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing because at least they were able to plug holes, but it shows a deeper issue, right? That can't be the case going forward. But that is a way to use the portal. I don't know. Y'all got beat by a running back. I'm catching up in the comments, y'all. So bear with me. That's all right. Norville Central's back. He says if they somehow get a surefire OT, which is interesting to me. I'm not saying I don't want one. I'm very interested to see how a Rod or a Lloyd Willis look in the spring. You might not need a surefire offensive tackle I'm interested to see Bless Harris. How is Bless Harris? I know I listened to Bless Harris's interview recently, about a week or so ago. Bless Harris, they interviewed him, and I was interesting that he said that he's an offensive tackle, right or left. So I'm going to be interested to watch a Bless Harris, a Rod Orr, a Lloyd Willis, and those guys. Your hope is that they develop to the point where you don't need to use that scholarship on the offensive tackle, in my opinion. And you can move a Darius Washington or somebody maybe to another position. Hell, even sit him for a year if need be to even get stronger. I think Darius Washington's a good player. I also think he could use some more physical development. But I'm with you. Like if you got a surefire offensive tackle and he's there, take him. But if you got some guys that perform well in the portal, in the spring, I don't know. You might not need to do that, but you probably definitely need a backup QB, right? Or a starter. I've always been like, that's my thing with this quarterback stuff for me. I've been shaky on this quarterback situation. You're either going to sign a guy who's going to blatantly be your starter, like, sorry, Jordan, but this guy's better than you. There's no question. There's no quarterback competition. Or you need to get a guy who's going to be comfortable being second fiddle, who's going to be comfortable being the backup. Because I don't believe Florida State can afford to go into 2023 with another quarterback competition of not knowing who the quarterback is because they're competing and they're on a level playing field with Travis. If that is the case, it's not a good outlook, in my opinion, for next season. And I've been pretty adamant on the DN. As you say, another DN, I would say scratch DN and maybe see if you can find a defensive tackle. For me, I think you got enough DNs on the roster that you don't need to waste another scholarship on a DN. You just got Jared Verse, you got Fuller, you got McClendon, you got Peyton. Dennis Briggs can be either or. You got some DNs. You got Byron Turner. You got Chambry Jackson. You got DNs. I don't necessarily think you need to waste another scholarship on. Develop what you got. If you want to show that people, that this staff is serious, it's time to start. It's time to start developing your players. Here's why I vehemently disagree with you. Realistically, that 6 wins is reasonable to expect. I am 100% against that. If you're at 6 wins next year, then you failed to progress at anything, and then that opens a whole can of worms on Mike Norvell and his staff, because you were a 6-win team last year. You let one get away from you. How you let more than one get away with you, to be honest with you. The schedule coming up is not as strong as the schedule that was from last year. You win 6 games last year, I cannot co-sign that comment. Let me catch up in the comments. I spent a lot of time on that one comment. Appreciate that, Duval. BB says Mario can recruit all the time. He won it. He still can't win it. Was shown at Oregon. Yeah, Miami fans even catching strays from Gator fans. Robert Scott is legit, man. We'll see if he lives up to that first round billing, you know. I like Robert Scott. Just trying to catch up. I wouldn't be mad at another linebacker, Todd. Do they, though? We haven't seen them suck. I can't agree with that. McClendon and Fuller, they took a step last year. Now, can they take a step into full-time starter mode? Right, we're going to see. You got Jared Verse, who everybody loves, who I think he's a good player too. I think maybe there's an unfair amount of expectations on him, but that doesn't mean I don't think he's not a good player. And it's, how can you say a Patrick Payton or Chambry Jackson or Byron Turner suck when we ain't seen them play? Man, we're very quick to write people off that we ain't even seen play football yet. We ain't even seen those DNs that you saying suck. We ain't even seen them play football yet. I agree with that, Tyler. That's why I cannot co-sign 5 or 6 loss to you. I just can't. I can't co-sign it. As a matter of fact, I have a question for everybody in the chat, because we haven't even talked about the schedule yet, and I probably need to pull it up here soon. Shout out to Yellow with the 199. Let me get you that. Appreciate that, Yellow. He just said, "POLK, what up, homie?" Appreciate the money or the donation. My bad. Let's go with Jay. And then I got Nicholas. Says 2023 class will be the most important. It's the class where FSU doesn't rely on the portal anymore. Hey, it better be. But I'm with you, Nick. It got to be, or we're in trouble. Can't keep going to the portal. I like the portal. I think it can do some good things for you. But if this is what you're doing every year, yeah, you're failing you're failing. You're failing as a staff, in my opinion. You get P-Dub.
Get more money. Get more money. Yeah.
I agree. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Rushing the passers, that's premier position. You definitely acquire them when you can. then I'll eat my words if that's the case. If Verse comes in and is Jermaine Johnson 2.0 instantly, then he's a one and done guy and he's going to the league next year. It's just what it is. You know, that's just what it is. I agree with King Mac. He's young. He's still growing. Brother Brooklyn, what's good with you? If I'm at 8 wins or bust, they can't win 8 with this schedule. I want a coaching refund. I'm with you. I'm with you. D. Thompson, my man, my brother from another. He says, what's going on? It's been a great week. My retirement. Oh, my boy done put in his DD214. That's always a reason to celebrate. Let's go.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
Now, the reason I say they suck is because we haven't been able to get reps for a bad team. Well, I don't think there was ever a plan to get a Patrick. Like some of those guys, I don't think they wanted to get Patrick Payton reps. As far as Byron Turner goes, I know he had an injury, right? So he wasn't able to get the reps. There was never a plan. The thing about Chambry Jackson, I throw his name out there a lot. I don't know if they were using him as a D tackle or a DN. I was always against moving him to D tackle, but that still may be the plan with him. I think guys like Patrick Payton and some of those guys, they were never supposed to play last year. The whole point was to sit them on the bench, and they needed that physical. George Wilson's another one, right? Needed that physical development. Those are the guys I'm talking about. As far as McLennan and Fuller, I understand what you're saying there. It's definitely going to be a make or break for them. But I do think that they showed flashes last year of being good players. We'll see if they can take that full-time starter position. Thank you. I agree, Myron. You should be able to get it too deep from that rotation of guys you just named. Top 20 class is not acceptable. I mean, I'd rather have a top 20 class than not have a top 20 class. I can kind of get where you're coming from, Mayan King, but I mean, you know, Bobby Bowden down the stretch was kind of pulling in the same type of classes. Granted, they decided to move on from Bobby. So, but I'm just saying, like, I get it. I get where you're trying to come from there. So, again, I'm glad you kind of put that out. Listen, I'm no Norvell apologist. I think we all know this, that I am not a Norvell apologist. But with that being said, I think the notion that they haven't been able to develop guys is a little ridiculous. Maybe, I mean, look at Trayshawn Ward. Came out of nowhere last year. That's just one name. Now, maybe they can't develop receivers, right? Maybe that's if you want to criticize receiver development. But even Jordan Travis, I know some of us aren't as high on Jordan Travis as others, but you can't deny his development from year 1 to year 2. He was a day and night player from what he finished the year as and what he started just that year as, let alone last year. What about Robert Scott? They've developed him quite nicely as a true freshman, 3-star true freshman as that. They got some of the best play out of Bavion Johnson we've seen, and that ain't easy to do because we all know, you know, Bavion. Darius Washington's come along nice under Mike Norvell and their staff. Has Fabian Lovett not developed? Has Robert Cooper not gotten better? Hell, Kalen DeLoach came out of nowhere last year. They didn't develop him. What about Omarion Cooper? I think the notion that they're not developing guys is a little ridiculous. I think it's a little ridiculous. Jermaine Johnson was a blue chip recruit at high school. I want to correct you here because I believe Jermaine coming out. I even think I can look this up right now. I want to correct you here because I'm not trying to be mean, Firewater, but I remember looking up Jermaine Johnson, and Jermaine Johnson was like, and I'm on my computer obviously, and I can't show y'all because this is a military computer that I can't stream from, but I want to, and you guys gonna go on and look at this yourself. See, I can't even pull up the shit I want to pull up. Jermaine Johnson was a little dude coming out of high school, and I can't find his profile all of a sudden. Oh, this might be it right here. I believe he was like 210 pounds coming out of high school. And remember Jermaine Johnson, I believe, went the JUCO route first. Anyways, let's see. Okay, y'all want to talk about? Okay, let's talk about. There you go. All you gotta do is look it up. He was not a 4-star. He was a 3-star. He was like a 210 pounds, 250 pounds, like he said. Jermaine Johnson went from that to a monster. You know, he was a big time JUCO prospect. Maybe that's what some people may be referring to. But Jermaine Johnson's path is kind of similar to Jared Verse, if we're being honest. I mean, Jared Verse was like a 6'3", 210-pound tight end. And then he blossomed, right? So there's some similarities between the two. DEF says, I got my hotel in French Quarter booked. Hey, I got to get with Terrence and see what the tickets look. What the tickets looking like. I'm gonna be out there though, barring any work related stuff. I'm in the building. It's gonna be a party out there because we winning. So if you gonna be in Nolans, you're gonna be in New Orleans, let me know. We can definitely link up. Appreciate the $10, DF.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
Okay, so let's get to the here. I'm gonna pull up the schedule. Won't be able to pull it up on the screen for you guys, but I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen the schedule to this point. So I'm gonna pull up the schedule here for myself. And we're gonna go in it. And for the people that think that Florida State's gonna that 7's even tough, but I mean, you know, things happen. So 7 may or may not be acceptable. I don't want to say 7 is acceptable, but I can admit that things happen on the college football season that you may or may not foresee, right? But I would like to know, Tyler put it in the chat earlier, show me where there are 6 or 7 hell, show me 5, forget 7, show me 5 or 6 acceptable losses for Florida State on this schedule. Not 22, 23. Okay. So I'm bringing up this schedule right now, right? Now we're going to go through it one line by line. Okay, this is the wrong, this site sucks because they're not up to date. And then what do you guys think about playing Florida on a Friday? I can't pull it up. Bro, get out of here. Okay, let me just go to the Florida State. Let me just go here. I know I can find it here. Give me a minute. What y'all got? What you got in the skit? What y'all got in the chat? What y'all got in the chat? While I let this stupid stuff load up. Shout out to Jay Sean Corbin too. There we go. Okay, I got the schedule in front of me here. So of course, Duquesne is number 1, August 27th. September 4th, we're in Nolens. The 16th, Louisville. September 24th, Boston College. And let's just stop. We'll stop in we'll stop. We'll consider August, September in this case, and we'll stop in the month of September. First 4 games. What's the record? First 4 games. Firewater says, when I say lack of development, it's players like Corey Wren, Stephen Dix, Demore Tate. I can argue those guys have regressed since high school. I would agree with you on Dix and Tate, even though we still haven't seen Tate, but Dix definitely looked like he regressed. Demore Tate, I think we still kind of hold out hope for him, right? He academically ineligible year 1. Year 2, suffered an injury, couldn't get on the field. So we'll see there. Corey Wren, I was never high on Corey Wren. Again, if y'all watch me for any amount of time, y'all know I was telling y'all about Corey Wren from day 1. So Corey Wren doesn't surprise me. Tyler says, what do you think about what's coming out with nothing? I don't think a damn thing of it. The same person who was quick to tweet Mike Norvell's quote about Benson was the same person who was defending Benson. Look, let me see Benson in action, and then I'll make a judgment there. But what is Mike Norvell supposed to come out in a press conference and say? Oh, yeah, man, Trey Benson, he's slow as molasses. His knee's still messed up. No. Let me see him in action, and then I'll judge on my own. But the first 4 games, Tyler says 3-1 minimum. Marcus says 2-2, possibly 3-1, 2-2, 4-0, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Okay, so most people are feeling a 3-1, 4-0 start. 2-2 is likely here. Here's the thing. Obviously, you win game 1. LSU, I'm going to call LSU a toss-up. LSU is a legit toss-up at this point. Here's my thing with LSU. Mike Norvell's got to figure out a way to beat Brian Kelly. I mean, this is going to be his 3rd year playing Brian Kelly. You got to figure out a way to beat him. You're catching LSU at a great time. They're still in their transition. They've done pretty good in the portal as well, but they're still going to be in transition. They're still going to be – Brian Kelly's still going to be figuring out his players and what he wants to do there. And, man, LSU, you get them at a good time, you got to catch them slipping. But that could be a potential loss. Louisville's interesting, right? Because of what they did last year to us. Even though we were able to come back in the game, we weren't able to pull it off. Was that an away game for us? I think that was an away game for us. So we catch Louisville at home. I like our chances there. And then we get Boston College at home. I like our chances there. So the first 4 games are going to be at home. So for me, I think 3-1 is at a minimum. 3-1 has to be acceptable. At a minimum, you can afford to go lose to LSU in a neutral site game, right? You can afford to go do that. Those other 3 games, can we take care of home field? Can we take care of home field? If we can take care of home field, we're 3-1 going into Wake Forest. Okay? What's going on, FSU, Tony? Louisville's at Louisville. Okay, so I'm mistaken. I could have sworn we played them at Louisville last year, but I guess I'm wrong. So if Louisville's at Louisville, that's obviously your second toughest game. So people that are saying 2-2, I think that's good. They think that that's the second loss. So that's fair enough. I'm still going 3-1. Yeah, I'm still gonna go 3-1 there. So that's me. I'm still gonna go 3-1. I feel like at the most Louisville's a one-man show with Cunningham. They're Cunningham and nothing else. So yeah, can we do something with Cunningham? If not, then we'll be 2-2. But I'm going 3-1. Even though I think we have a great shot to beat LSU, I'll be a little bit non-biased here, and I'll say you lose a very hard-fought, close game to LSU in a neutral site, which is essentially going to be a home game for them. If Mike wants to shut me up early, you win that LSU game. You win that LSU game. If you win that LSU game, you go 4-0 in the month of September. So I'm going with 3-1. I'm going to give LSU the win, but you're not going to lose to Boston College, and you're not going to lose those other two, in my opinion. Now you go into what, in my opinion, the month of October is the make or break month for you, because to me, that's the toughest month of the season. Easily. No question. No question. The month of October is easily the toughest month. You're Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. Now, based off of last year, that's a legit one game. Like, you can only really guarantee one game, and like Georgia Tech. And the last time we saw was play Georgia Tech, which we are not the same team that played that Georgia Tech team. I think the only game right there that you can pencil in is Georgia Tech. My thought process on it is this. Do you believe Wake Forest is going to be the same? Now, that Wake Forest game I know is at home. Tell me that one's at home. I'm almost positive that one's at home, right? Okay, so you get Wake Forest at home. If you start the season off 3-1 or 4-0, Doak should be packed for Wake. Doak should be packed for Wake. Damn near. If not 80,000, we should have close 70, high 60s. We should have a decent, solid crowd for the Wake Forest game, especially if you start the season off good, right? So we get Wake Forest at home. Is NC State at home or away? I'm not too sure. I believe they even bringing their quarterback back. NC State's going to be a little tough, but I think NC State's losing some stuff on that defense. They're losing some key defensive linemen that were really good for them last year. NC State, I don't know. I feel like we beat NC State last year if we had a quarterback that game. So we'll see what happens. I am not sold on anything that Clemson is doing right now. I'm not even going to lie to you. Has Dabo, anybody can tell me, but has Dabo replaced his coordinators at this point? Because I'm not so sure he has. I know for a fact we get Clemson at home. So we get Wake at home, Clemson at home. Georgia Tech's probably going to be away, even though I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know the last time we played Georgia Tech, we played them at home, so Georgia Tech might be away. So you got 4 games in the month of October, 2 home, 2 away. 2-2 is very realistically. Like, I'm all about let's take care of home, right? If we can take care of home, and I said we'd be 3-1 in the first 4 games. You go 2-2. What does that make you? 5-3? 5-3 at this point in the season isn't the greatest, but it damn sure isn't the worst. Damn sure isn't the worst. What do you guys think of that 4-game stretch, though? I think that 4-game stretch is tough. It's the toughest stretch of the year, and it's going to be hard to pick those games. I think Georgia takes the easiest game to pick there, but we haven't beat Clemson in 6 years, right? So we got to find a way to beat them. Should have beat them last year. Hell, Jermaine Johnson pretty much beat them single-handedly, and we couldn't close the deal for him. Got to find a way to beat Clemson at home this time. Can we do that? Feel like we should have beat NC State last year, but we didn't have consistent quarterback play. And then Wake, I don't have faith that Wake's going to be the same team they were last year. That's just me thinking Wake Forest, right? Wake Forest is going to give you one good year every 4 or 5 years. I think that was that good year. I don't think they come back the same way next year. Could be wrong, but we'll see there. Definitely 2-2 is looking the most realistic. So that puts you at 5-3. So we're 5-3, and now the last stretch of the season in November. Miami, who we got to go. I would say it's a away game, but there's no real. They're going to be playing in front of 10,000 people. They usually pack it for us, so they'll pack it for us. So we got to go away to Miami. I think Syracuse will be away as well, and then the last 2 games should be at home. So yeah, I think this is why 6 games isn't quite acceptable to me, because at worst I'm looking at a 7-win team. That means 7 wins means you literally go 500 after the month of September. You start the season 3-1, then you go 2-2 and 2-2. You're 7-6, right? Or 7-5. Sorry, 7-5. You're 7-5. I think 7-5 is the worst case scenario, man. When I look at the schedule, if I'm wrong, somebody please tell me I'm wrong. Those last 4 games, y'all know we own Tyler Van Dyke, so Miami's going to be a win. Period. I'm going to be very, very interested to see who's the quarterback for the Florida Gators. Hell, we win that game if Jordan Travis stays healthy throughout that game. And then I'm not worried about the Raging Cajuns. I'm really not. And I'm not worried about Syracuse, even though Syracuse was a tough game last year. But it was the first game of the season that we won. They were trying to get over that hump. By this time, by November 12th next year, they shouldn't be trying to get over any humps against Syracuse. So for me, man, at worst is 7-5. That's at worst. And that's just if you're just going to not predict any upsets, not predict, you know what I'm saying? As we know, what we saw last year, man, the season is not necessarily going to go as planned. But yeah, I'm looking at it at worst a 7-win team here. And of course, like I said, if you can find a way to beat Clemson, who you need to start beating, you need to beat Clemson. You need to figure out a way to beat Clemson, period. I mean, who's their quarterback? Is DJ still their quarterback? Whatever the case, got to find a way to beat Clemson. Miami, that's easy work. We know that. And then Florida, I'm very, very interested to see who their quarterback is. But Florida wasn't necessarily a tough team either. I mean, that was a tough game. But the games that really call the games that put it in question, it's not like FSU's far from those teams, right? We're already ahead of Miami, right? We know that. We're not far from Florida at all. We're not far from Clemson at all. And that was last year with really bad quarterback play in those games. Like, Travis kind of turned the corner after the Clemson game, but they didn't do too well in that Clemson game. We had some plays, we had chunk plays, but we weren't able to keep anything consistent, right? Florida, again, if Travis plays that whole game, I think we beat Florida. I don't even really think that's much of a question. So yeah, man, I'm just looking at the schedule, and I mean, anybody can feel free to disagree, but 7-5 at worst, and then if you able to beat your rivals, which would be nice to finally, go through a season and be able to beat all your rivals. That would be kind of nice. I mean, you're talking about an 8-9 win team. 8-9 win team. Emory Jones was that's the thing that pissed me off the most about that game. Because Emory was giving us the game and we couldn't capitalize because our quarterback was out. I think you can make a good case that losing to either team is unacceptable. I mean, I hear you. You can say we're FSU, but I'm not trying to be like unrealistic here. You still got to make progress, right? First year you went 3 wins. Second year you went 5 wins. So as of right now, the trend is 2. So again, at worst Mike can go 7-5, make a bowl game, and potentially have an 8-5 record. I know it won't be the greatest. People will still find a way to bitch and moan about that. I probably will, especially depending on how we lose some games and what games they lose. But it would still be kind of showing that progression, right? I think 8 wins puts them in the clear. Like, I think if they win 8 games, nobody's going to be saying that that's a bad thing. And then, of course, anything up top of that is just icing on the cake. But yeah, that's just me. But again, I don't look at the schedule, and it's hard for me to find 6 or 7 losses because that means, you lose to a Georgia Tech somewhere. You're going to have to lose to Georgia Tech. You're going to have to lose to the Raging Cajuns or Syracuse. And the Raging Cajuns may have been a good team last year, but do we really think that they lost a lot of guys, left the portal, and went over to your boy? So, yeah, I mean, to lose 6 or 7 games next year, it means you regressed because it means that you're going to lose to a Boston College, a Georgia Tech, a Syracuse, a Raging Cajuns, or God forbid the donut school that we play week 1. God forbid you find a way to lose that game. You lose that game, and there's nothing can save Mike at that point. I don't care if Mike ran the table after that. You lose to Dunquise, I don't care if Mike ran the table after that. There's just nothing that can save you. There's just nothing that can save you. You're fine. I agree with you. Hey, man, I hear you on that. I hear you on that, too. I think, I hear you. If we just play 4 quarters, week in and week out, we should win 8 games. We are facing some really good QBs. Are we? Okay, let's see. Who are we facing? Who's LSU's quarterback? Just you can put in the comments because I honestly don't know. Cunningham, solid. I don't think he's all world. I think he showed out against lesser competition, but against tougher competition, he kind of looked average to not too good, in my opinion. But he's got wheels. He's mobile. He can make stuff happen. That Boston College quarterback, supposed to be a great quarterback. Yeah, we shut that down. So I'm not too worried about him. Wake Forest, again, I just believe Wake Forest is in for a dip. I know not Clemson. I know NC State brings back their quarterback again. As great as or as good as he was supposed to be, it's not like NC State blew us off the field. We were right there, and we had McKenzie Milton playing the majority of that game. Since we're just talking quarterbacks here. No idea who Clemson's quarterback is going to be at this point. Do they go with the true freshman, or do they keep DJ out there? Georgia Tech, if it's Jeff Sims, I ain't worried about that. Tyler Van Dyke, we own that kid. We're in his head. I have no idea who Syracuse. No idea who Raging Cajun quarterback going to be, and no idea who the Gators quarterback is going to be. So I don't want to hype up a bunch of quarterbacks that I can legitimately say FSU, Wake Forest has a good quarterback, NC State has a good quarterback, LSU has a dynamic, not LSU, Louisville has a dynamic quarterback who can make things happen, but I wouldn't call him a good quarterback. And I think Miami has a good quarterback. Millie says, "Who's calling plays? Do y'all even have an offensive coordinator, and you're worrying about who's calling our plays? Boy, if you don't take care of your house first, stay out of grown folk business, clean your room first, and then you come out the room and try to end a big boy conversation." I agree, Anthony. Offense can't come out the gate sputtering and playing quarterback carousel. Offense has to come out this year and click. I'm with you there. I think we play a couple good ones, but do we play a bunch of NFL prospects? I'm not too sure, because if that Boston College quarterback was an NFL prospect, he would have went to the NFL. If that NC State quarterback was an NFL guy, he would have went to the NFL. The only one who might be an NFL prospect is Van Dyke, but again, we own him, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I cannot co-sign you there. No, I can't come with you there. I think he's a dynamic. I would put AR-15 BB in the same situation, in the same category as Cunningham, if I'm being honest with you. I think he's an electric player. I don't know if he's a good quarterback, though. I know he's an athlete. I know he can run, but I can't say he can throw the ball like that. Hey, don't tell him none. Don't tell him none, DF. Yeah, Tyler hit the nail on the head. I don't want Tyler all the way. If we can't handle that schedule, it's because we suck. And if we suck, it's because of the coach. Because at the end of the day, we can no longer – here's the thing, guys. And since we kind of covered all bases here, we'll go into that portion where, we'll just let the conversation flow. But here's the thing. We can't keep criticizing kids. I know early on in Mike Norvell's tenure, we wanted to say there wasn't a lot of great players. I have a question for the chat. The team that is going to be taking the field next year in 2023, if you look at all layers of the team, from quarterback to running back to just all layers, is this the most talented team FSU will be fielding? Oh, let me put it like this. I think this is definitely the most talented team FSU's fielding in the last 3 years. Is this the most talented and cohesive unit that FSU will be fielding in the last 3 to 4 years? From quarterback to every position on the field. That's my question to you. Because if it is, we can't continue to say that the players suck. Right? When I was coming on here and telling y'all that I didn't like certain coaches, and everybody kept telling me, well, he ain't got no players. Well, guess what, bro? They let all those players that we didn't like, they let them leave the program. Ira Henry's not here. Baby Young's graduated. Dante Lucas is gone. We can go down the list. Dontavious Jack, we can just go down the list of the guys that you all said suck. They're gone. They're not on this team anymore. There's maybe a handful of guys here that are still on this team that people are kind of sick of. And even those guys are now Mike Norvell's guys. And I'm speaking of number 7, of course. I know people don't want to see. I don't want to see. But see, we have options. But all those guys we talked about being trash, they're gone. They're no longer in this program. We cannot continue to shift the blame to the talent of these kids, in my humble opinion. Adam Fuller, you have your pieces. You have your players that you've recruited for the past 3 years. Year 3 is, and this ain't just a Mike Norvell thing. Year 3 is the money year for every head coach in football. Because year 3 is you've got your players. The other guys' players have all but pretty much transitioned out. You have a few guys left back, of course. But for the most part, you got your guys. So Mike's running back room, those are all his guys. That wide receiver room is going to be drastically different next year. Those are all going to be Mike's guys. That offensive line has been completely rehauled. Your D-line has been all but rehauled. That secondary. I'm so excited to see Isaiah Thomas. I think he's going to be playing alongside Marion Cooper. I was very surprised that I heard Sam McCall, I guess, is going to be a corner. I don't like that. I think he's more of a safety. It's just my humble opinion. But 6'3" Thomas, he should be playing opposite of Marion Cooper, and good luck passing the ball. Good luck passing the ball with that. But I'm just asking a serious question. Like, seriously, though, is this the most talented team that we've seen at Florida State in the last 3 to 4 years? Because I think the answer is yes. Now, granted, you can consider Willie Taggart's first team, by all accounts, the team that Willie Taggart inherited, Cam Akers, Brian Burns, yeah, that team was definitely more talented. The team also had a lot of other issues with it. So if you take away that team, every team since then, I think you're fielding the best team Florida State has fielded in the last 3 years. But I need to see the results on the field. Since 2019, the O-line has been developed. Shout out to Atkins. Position group went from bum city to serviceable and trending up. We don't have the guys that's on the coaches. Richardson has no loyalty to Nate, and Nate has no record of developing QBs into high draft picks. Might want a better opportunity. If they let Richardson go, I would be very curious to see who would be the quarterback there. Because they let their top quarterback that they had, I know they signed like a 3-star, which I don't know what that means. But the guy they had committed, he decommitted and went elsewhere. No legit backup QB for Jordan Travis. Fair point. I disagree with that last part. Loss of Jermaine and Kier don't equal disaster to me. Not if the coaching staff is anything. Now, if you think the coaching staff sucks and that they can't develop anything behind Jermaine and Kier Thomas, then fine. But that's why year 3 is so pivotal. Fair enough. Jalen Goss is another one. There's a bunch of players, man. There's a bunch of players. Jalen Goss, Kavion Glenn, Jaleel McCray. Just a bunch of guys, man, who everybody said was garbage. They're not in this program anymore. Yeah, dream big. Yeah, I see our faults too, but I'm curious from the outside, Melly, since you want to sit back and don't sit back and watch. Please tell me, what is Florida State's faults? If I was Florida State, I'd be throwing the book at Tate Rodemaker this spring. This spring would be make or break for Rodemaker. Which 2 do it don't have to be 2. It can definitely be a combination of all. I mean, don't have to be 2. I'm not saying that you're just going to immediately replace that type of production, but you don't have to. It ain't just about getting sacks. It's about getting pressures. If you can get the pressures, it's all about getting the quarterback off his mark. That's all it's about. Sacks are just a glorified stat. I'm not saying sacks don't matter, but it's a glory stat. Sacks are like interceptions. The best defensive end don't always got to get 22 sacks or however many sacks. How many times can you pressure the quarterback and get him off his mark and make him to make throws and decisions that he doesn't want to make? Those are the type of things that don't get seen. It's just like him, again, just like playing that corner. Everybody glorifies over those picks. But we don't talk about the corner that has the quarterback not even looking his way. You feel what I'm saying? So you don't have to get 18 sacks. What if two players only generate 15 sacks? Is that a huge disparity? I don't think so. What if as a group they get 18 sacks? What if the production from the defensive ends go down, but a defensive tackle production goes up? Just don't lose us yards and field position, Firewater. Thank you. You don't gotta be. We don't need Peter Work and Greg Reed back there. It would be nice, but we don't need it. How about just not? We talk about that Florida game. Right? If Pookie Wilson doesn't muff a punt, does that game play out any different? The game probably plays out different. Like, we don't need again Greg Reed and Peter Warrick or Willie Reed back there. Can we just get guys that can field punts, get positive yardage? Can we get guys that get kickoffs and can get past the 20? Can we not lose field position on special teams? T-Mac, I dare you to say something good about next year's team. Thank you, but that's my point. It doesn't. I will completely agree that it's not a star-studded, right? At least at the defensive end position. Not too sure there's an NFL player on that defensive end side right now. Maybe in a year or two, but right now I don't know if there's an NFL player there. So to expect one guy to get double-digit sacks might be a bit of a pipe dream. But can Quayshawn Fuller get you 4 sacks? And then McClendon get you another 4 sacks? And then Jared Verse get you 5 to 6 sacks? Oh, now all of a sudden those sack totals piling up. Can you get Patrick Payton to come in in pass rush situations and give you a 2 or 3 sack? Again, I think we're kind of overstating sacks as a whole. Give me quarterback pressures, give me quarterback hurries, and let me get the quarterback off the mark. And if we think the secondary is going to be as improved as we think it will be, maybe we don't have a high sack total, but we have a high turnover total. Case in point, our championship team. What was the sack numbers on the championship team? For those that want to save sacks and all this stuff. Who on the championship team had a double-digit sacks? Or were they able to at least get quarterbacks, rush the passer, get them off the mark, and we get a lot of turnovers? LaMarcus Joyner. Oh, yeah, he was a Thorpe Award finalist. Jalen Ramsey was a freshman All-American. PJ. I don't need to go on. You guys know what I'm trying to say here. Well, I'm not even trying to say it. Y'all know what I'm saying. He definitely took over games. That's my point. Firewater. There wasn't a lot of sacks in 13. Just a lot of turnovers and tackles for loss. You can still be an effective defense without being a big-time sack defense. If you can cause those turnovers, if you can stop teams behind the line of scrimmage. Millie, I asked you a question. You still haven't answered it. You said you see our faults. I want you to tell me what are Florida State's weaknesses? I just want to see if I'm not coming for you. I just want to see if I agree with you. What up, Irv? Now y'all ain't arguing about nothing worth a damn. So yeah, and then I haven't even touched on this, but I saw the pictures of the new locker rooms going with like an all white approach. I tell you this, with these all white locker rooms and stuff, if we don't see these all white uniforms on the field this year, I'm gonna be highly disappointed, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If I don't see the all white uniforms on the field this year, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Again, I want to see a whiteout. I want to see a whiteout. I mean, hell, we playing the Gators on a Friday night. Give me a whiteout against the Gators in dope last game of the season on a Friday. Why not? Why not? I know that's a tradition. I know all the all whites are traditionally an away what you call an away uniform. Sorry, but yeah, give me that. I'm still disappointed that we didn't get enough high school in this class. I touched on that earlier, Irv. Again, um, if you're disappointed, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with your disappointment, but I think you should have known the game plan of this program was always to finish their recruiting class on the early signing period and then go hit the portal hard. We've been talking about that for months. So yeah. 34 sacks as a team in 2013. Okay, now go back to what you originally asked. You said who was going to get 18 sacks between Jermaine and Kier. So those 34 sacks didn't come from two players, they came as a team. So how many sacks did FSU have as a team this past year? And I'll go back to my question that I asked you. Who on the 2013 team had double-digit sacks? And I'll tell you something, Pruitt did a lot in 2013. That sacks looks like a defensive end stat. Pruitt blitzed the nickelback a ton in 2013. And he, from Joyner to Ramsey, how many DBs had sacks in 2013? So don't just throw me a blank sack total out there. Break it down like you tried to break out the 18 sacks between two players from last year. So apparently I listened to Alford. He said that there will be enough helmets for this year. I think whiteout would be dope too, Irv. They're not, bro. Y'all can't be believing the hype, Panama. It's not that the facilities are messed up. FSU has great facilities. We don't have that football only facility that everybody has, and that's like the thing. They're upgrading the locker rooms, but I think that's because they're trying to get Mike. Because I even saw one of the pictures they're putting Klein. I'll say this. I will say this. I saw one of the pictures that they put Klein, the word Klein. If that's what they're doing, Mike is not getting fired. If they're using Mike's slogan and they're literally putting that in the locker room, Mike ain't going nowhere. He's going to be here for the long haul, regardless of what happens on the field. I can agree with you about linebacker depth. But Caden DeLoach and Bethune are two good linebackers. But I would agree with you about linebacker depth. Quarterback, I agree with your quarterback depth, but we'll see how Travis progresses. So I can't necessarily disagree with you about quarterback. So two positions on an 11-man or 22-man team. And then you say play calling. Bro, our play calling wasn't great last year with Dillingham. So I don't even want to hear that crap. I think our play calling can take a damn jump. No, let's please do not come in here and act like Kenny Dillingham was damn Jimbo Fisher or I don't know, Chad Morris or hell, even Kendall Briles. We are not going to do that. No. Wasn't worried about the Kenny Dillingham from the jump. All fans who remember watching Burt Reynolds will have a fit over white helmet stuff. I didn't initially like him when I first saw him, but when I saw him the whole get up, I liked him. The 18 sacks account for 22. Those 18 sacks account for the 22 sacks in 2021. Okay. Does FSU still have room to take more additional players after the spring game? How many spots do you guys have? I think Miami has 6 spots left. We actually need guys to hit the portal, I think. What's up, Tim? King Max says, my point is sacks equals pressures. Or pressures can equal sacks, but I get what you're saying, which we need in 2022 against some of the QBs we are facing to have success and win games. Hopefully, as a team, we keep it at that level. Shh, Tyler, don't tell him nothing. The best play call we had last year was that counter play out of the run on the backside tackle with pull. Other than that, the play calling was average. We'll be fine there. We'll definitely be fine in the play calling. The best play call, Dillingham he started going to wheel routes out the backfield after that Toll-Philly break against Clemson. I think he kind of fell in love with those plays. He fell in love with Dillingham, in my opinion. His play calling was very predictable. Like you could watch him setting up certain plays, and it just became predictable, in my opinion. So that's just my opinion, though. Like I could tell when he was going up the seam to the tight end, which became another one of his favorite calls. And you could tell when he was setting up the wheel route. So again, we're not going to sit in here and pretend like Kenny Dillingham was out here dialing up. Hell, I probably would take Rhett Lashley over Kenny Dillingham. The best team in Florida, but FSU beat you and sent you crying. Delusional ass fanboys. UM has been saying Tupac back since 2022. Did Norvell take over play calling towards the end? Did he or did he not? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I always assumed Kenny was calling the plays. Norvell normally didn't walk on the sideline with the play sheet. Now, I do recall a couple games with Norvell having a play sheet, but for the most part, I don't think he did. And play calling definitely got better in the back. I think play calling got better in the back half for a lot of reasons. And I think a lot of it had to do with Travis's development, O-line development, and they started using that. They started the back half of the season. They actually started using Ja'Kai Douglas. I know, shocker. They started using number 22 at the back end of the season for some reason. They actually started using him as a legit slot receiver. Kind of crazy. Speaking of Ja'Kai Douglas, whenever Ja'Kai Douglas played, I felt like the play calls. Wow, man, Firewater. I don't know. Are we reading each other's minds? Amazing that I was only calling for Ja'Kai Douglas since game one. Polk, do you kick the tires on Deuce this spring as a possible backup? I don't think so, because I think you told him I think he's set on being a receiver at this point. I mean, I guess it's a conversation that you can have. If you just get to the spring and Rodemaker just ain't it, then I guess it's a conversation that you can have. Could he be an emergency guy? Yeah, probably an emergency guy. An emergency guy would definitely be, but again, that's an emergency situation. Basically, Travis goes down for the year. Rodemaker would either go down for the year as well or just be so bad that you can't put him out there. You don't want to throw Duffy out there, so you go with Span in an emergency situation. That'd be the only, I guess, situation where I'd be okay with it. Honestly, I feel like we need better play, more consistent in several positions, but definitely need it more at QB. Travis needs to improve dramatically in the passing game. JT Daniels, I wish. POLK, since the window has closed on portals, for now it has, but I definitely think the portal picks up again after spring. I think they should. I think they should. But again, what that tells me is if you pick up a quarterback after the spring, there's no way he's coming in as the starter, which could be a good thing in my opinion. Again, because I feel like you need to either invest in Travis all the way or get a sure thing. If you're going to get a sure thing, you need to do that before the spring because there's no way you can convince me unless something crazy happened and like one of the top quarterbacks in the nation hit the portal, which I don't think is going to happen. But there's no way you're going to convince me that a kid's going to come into post-spring and be your starter. Spring is where he needs to learn the playbook, start building that relationship with his receivers and his center for that matter, right? But could you bring in a quarterback after the spring to be your backup? Yes. And compete with Rodemaker? Sure. But not to be your starter. If they get a quarterback after spring to compete for the starting job, then we're just rehashing what we've done the last few years, and I'm not sold on that. He's dynamic. He flashes on the field. Classes have started for FSU, so the portal is slow. After spring, it should pick up as far as incoming and outgoing. Definitely both. I think post-spring, we're going to have 2 or 3 receivers hit the portal. 2 receivers hit the portal. We're going to have, I think, 2 or 3 DBs hit the portal. Yeah, after spring and summer hits, yeah, you're going to have, I think, 4 or 5 guys hit the portal. I think you're going to have 4 or 5 guys hit the portal. They could still bring in another few guys after that. So I'm going to go here. We're at about 15 more minutes. I'm going to go, and then we did 2 hours strong. So I'm happy with this live stream. We did 2 hours strong. I can't wait to get out of here so I can actually get in back in the lab and do how I usually do with the content. But I appreciate y'all who continue to tune in to me, man, even though I know the content slowed down. I mean, it's off season, and you know, this is the type of year that it kind of slows down anyway. But at the same time, as you can see, I'm in Never Land. So I got to do what I do when I get a chance to do it. Our David says, Span at QB. Are we talking about? I think he meant what are we talking about here, folks? Someone just asked, would they think about it? And my thing is, in an emergency situation, maybe you would have to. But other than that, it shouldn't be the case. We got to get under 85. They better leave. Yeah. I think we're going to get some guys leaving, though. This offense can be explosive. We should win at least 2 more games since we have someone that can catch a punt. Okay. We need to stick what got on QB for 2023. It would change. And numbers aren't worth worrying about. I agree with that. Numbers always seem to work out. I would worry about the numbers too much, but I do expect some attrition after the spring. And they also, there might be some, I don't know of quarterbacks, but you could see some big-time players hit the portal after spring too. So, maybe you do get a defensive end, a big-time one. I know people aren't too high on the defensive ends. I stick to my guns. I think Patrick Payton, by the end of the year, will be definitely in the 2 deep. I don't think he starts the season in the 2 deep. So I think, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Briggs, but I think you're 2 deep going into not even into the spring, 2 deep going into the season, I think is going to, the 4 players, in what order and who, I don't know, but I think the 4 players are going to be Verse, Fuller, McClendon, and Briggs. I think that's going to be your your 4-man rotation, so to speak, at defensive end, at both defensive end spots. I think by the end of the year, Peyton moves into that rotation legitimately. You know, if anybody else was to emerge, that'd be great. Wouldn't necessarily shock me. Where do you think the O-line is next year? O-line might be your best unit on the field next year on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, running back's still there. I guess the big question for running back is who replaces the 800-plus yards that Corbin ran for. I think Ward has that ability, but now you're like, okay, well, then who picks up for Ward? Is it Toafili? Is it Benson? Is it DJ? You know, who picks up the slack? Like, do we still have that 2-man rotation at running back? As much as I like Ward, I don't know if Ward is a 300 carry guy. You know what I mean? So I think your O-line is probably your best unit on offense. Again, like I know, let's just talk. I mean, this is just look at the players. Robert Scott. They're talking about Robert Scott going into his junior year. Well, I think it actually will be his sophomore year because that first year didn't count. But we know he's been a 3-year starter at Florida State and will be eligible for the draft. People are talking about he's an NFL caliber tackle. Well, when's the last time we've had an NFL caliber tackle? So we got Robert Scott. We got Dylan Gibbons. Our highest graded offensive lineman last year as a whole was Dylan Gibbons. So we're good there. Caden Lyles was a starter at Wisconsin, went through some injuries, but we know we're getting a quality football player there. He's got a beard. He's a center. What else is there to ask? You're really only asking who's filling the other guard spot and what are they doing at the other tackle spot. If they have to put Darius Washington out there, I'm not too mad about it because he played, by all accounts, in a lot of ways, Darius Washington had a better year than Robert Scott did last year. If you go back and watch the tape, Darius Washington was a good football player last year. And then now you have and if you do get another tackle in the portal, well, you just slide him in there. Maybe you slide Darius Washington to guard. You got to see what they do at guard. Again, this is where I go with, well, where does Bless Harris fall into this thing? Is he going to start at the other tackle spot? Is he going to be a guard? Is Lloyd Willis? He's been on campus for what, 3 years now? Right? 3 or 4 years? How's Lloyd Willis developed at this point? Rod Orr was a 4-star tackle. Where does he coming in? Brian Estes. Schrader, Herring. I think the O-line is set up to be very good next year. Pretty much. Pretty much. Whoever leaves Georgia should be coming to Florida State. I almost missed your comment, Panama, but he says, I feel so much better about linebacker with the addition of Bethune. We need to pick. I agree with that. I think Bethune and Deloach, I don't want to say they're money, but they're better. They're a better combo than we've had in a long time. You still got Gaynor, right? Let's not completely dismiss Amari Gaynor. I know I've been hard on Gaynor before, but let's not completely dismiss Gaynor. He's there. He's going into his money year. And but the depth worries me. I think the depth does worry me. Like, I mean, I'll be fair to Deloach. If you have to play him, we know Deloach is at least serviceable. Okay, Deloach is a serviceable linebacker. I don't want to see him as a starter, but I think he's a serviceable rotation piece when you need him. So there's that. And that's probably the nicest thing I've said about Deloach. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Toafili being running back number 1. Do you think getting better? No. You don't lose Jermaine Johnson and the pass rush get better, especially when we don't. Again, unless you think Jared Verse is that dude. I don't count out DJ. That's why I didn't understand the Benson take, because I said you got Benson already on the roster, but we'll see. JJ who? Oh, Jermaine Johnson. Man, I thought you meant Corbin for a second, Tyler. I like Corbin. Corbin should. Corbin's gonna get some looks at. Corbin might go undrafted, but or he might be a late round pick. But Corbin, I think he's the guy who, Jermaine Johnson is who we always thought. I think he's getting vastly underrated, and he just continues every time people count him out. He just continues to show that he is that dude. So I know Jermaine Johnson's going to make everybody proud. I think Corbin's a little sneaky, though. Corbin could sneak in somewhere. That would be dope. I mean, he's all of 6'7", 320 pounds. Y'all know Lloyd Willis is like my favorite player. Lloyd Willis is, hey, I'm all with it, man. I'm all with it. I watched Bethune play some games. I'm a bit lower on him now than I was when we first got him. But he's still a huge upgrade, question mark. I think he still is. Even if, let's say you are a little bit lower on him, and that's fine. You watch some tape and you're like, he might not be the guy I think we were getting. My question to that is, watch every linebacker not named Kalen DeLoach last year and tell me if Bethune is better than them. And yeah, Reggie's a monster. I'm telling you, man, the UFC gonna be calling his name soon. Mark Gainer might be a program guy. McCall, I've always said McCall probably not. It's not a knock on McCall, but I always thought McCall was a safety, and I think FSU's kind of loaded at safety. I think safety is the best position in the secondary. Hell, safety might be the best position on the defense, if we're being honest. It's between safety and defensive tackle because you're bringing back all ACC players at both positions. Fabian Love and Robert Cooper, I think both made all ACC, and Jamie Robinson made all ACC. And he got Akeem Dent, who's finally started showing us something. And he seemed to gel very well with Jamie back there at safety. So my thought was always McCall, you didn't have to rush him because your safeties are pretty much solid. Thomas, yeah, because again, if you go into the fall and Jarvis Brownlee's your other corner, opposite of Amarion Cooper, I think you failed. I want to see Jarvis Brownlee in the 2-deep rotation with Kevin Knowles at nickel, but he should not be your other starting corner. I don't need to see that anymore. Upgrade the position. I think Azariah Thomas can upgrade the position. And he's an early enrollee, so let's make it happen. Plus, you have other options, Hunter Washington, but that's not your question. Your question was about McCall or Thomas. McCall will see the field, I think, in special teams for sure. But I think Thomas has a legit chance to start on defense. I agree with that. Jermaine Johnson ain't going he ain't dropping past the second round. Jermaine's not dropping past the second round. And he said Corbin runs a 4.4. He's getting drafted in the 6th or 7th. Super Bowl prediction. I got the Rams, man. I got the Rams, but I think that's going to be a fun game. I think the Bengals are here for a long time. Joe Burrow's the real deal, and Jamar Chase is about 2 or 3 years away from being the best receiver in football. It might not even be close with him. Jamar Chase versus Ramsey is going to be fun. But I think the Rams have the edge because they got Aaron Donald and Von Miller. But the Bengals are going to be – I think Bengals are going to be around for a long time. They're a young team, and they're already here. Barring the organization doesn't do anything stupid, like let Jamar Chase walk or, let one of those defensive players that's pivotal to their success walk. They keep the core of this team together offensively and defensively. The Bengals are going to be around for a while. What else y'all got before I hang it up here? I'm gonna go to the 2-hour mark. So we got about a minute. Rose says the Bengals. Think Bengals gonna pull the upset? I want to see Cam and Jalen win the Super Bowl. So I can't root for the Bengals. Can't root for the Bengals yet. Plus, this is the second time the Rams have gotten this far, and I think they're gonna cash in this time. I think they're gonna cash in. Matt Stafford has been playing real good football. Hell no, AJ Green don't get nothing. I want Cam and Akers and Jalen to have the breakout game. That will help us in recruiting. I think Stafford balls out. I think Stafford and Cooper Kupp are going to be maybe too much for the Bengals. But, again, I wouldn't shock me if the Bengals – I'll tell you this. It wouldn't shock me if the Bengals – I don't have the Bengals winning, but it wouldn't shock me if they kept it close. But it also wouldn't shock me because I think the Bengals are just here a little bit too early in football. That can get exposed. It also wouldn't shock me if the Rams won like 35-10 or something. Wouldn't shock me if the Rams smashed them. And that's true too. Stafford might not have not too many more opportunities to finally get him a ring. So that's also true there. How does it feel to have your Rams led by Florida State players and Georgia players? That's got to be tough. But you are a Seminole T2Y, so. Your best players on that team is the Georgia player, who's your quarterback, a Florida State player who's your running back, a Florida State player who's the best DB in the game, another ACC team in Pitt, Aaron Donald. Where the Miami players at? Where the Miami players at? Are there any? Are there any Miami players playing the Super Bowl? Do the Bengals have a few? That's the last question I'm gonna have for this stream. Where are the Miami players at? Okay, there must not be any. So we're gonna end it on that note, y'all. Thank everybody who came in and tuned in. Hit that like button on the way out, man, if you didn't hit that like button on the way in. And as always, it's your boy POLK over on 863 Seminole TV. Yeah, that's right, man. Crickets. Are there going to be – I don't think there's Miami players on any team out there. Shout out to Cam. But as always, man, it's your boy POLK over on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. Again, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And share the content. Obviously, I don't go as live as often as I used to, but don't worry, it will be picking back up. I got a few more weeks out here, and then I'm gonna start making moves again. So, hey, appreciate y'all who's still sticking with me, showing that support and showing that love. Appreciate that King Mac. He says great show. That's right, man. We got Alden Tate. There's just Florida State players everywhere because, we run this. But anyway, T2Y, you didn't answer the question. I said, how many Miami players are playing the Super Bowl? But that's neither here nor there. I'm out, guys. I'm finna go eat. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. I will catch y'all again. Stay classy, Seminoles, and we out here.